Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Index Office Hours. Today is the 18th of November, and this is Index Office Hours 234. For all of you who are new to Index Office Hours, welcome. This is the town square where graph ecosystem participants come together and discuss the most important and relevant topics for indexes. As always, as I like to say in every single IOH, and today's no different, this is a conversation and we do not participation. We're going to have quite a bit of interactivity in today's session, so feel free to get involved in today's conversation. As a reminder, this session is going to be recorded and posted onto public channels like YouTube. So if you are concerned about privacy, just bear that in mind. And with that, I'm going to move us swiftly onto the repo watch section, where I will be handing off to Carlos for his segment.
Hello everyone and welcome back. This week has been a little bit quiet, but still important because in less than 48 hours, there's going to be some hard forks on the testnets. So I'm going to start there. There's a new minor version for Arbitrum Nitro. It's 3.9.2, and you need to be running this for Sepolia in less than 48 hours. Same applies to Polygon, Polygon Aragon, for which, if you recall, they're keeping the fork now, so it's no longer the upstream Aragon, but there's a new release out, 3.3.0. You also need to be running this for the testnets on Polygon, so Amoy. So those two are the most critical. There's a new patch version for mDAL-v2. We're now at 0.4.4. And last week I had mentioned that there was a new miner for Reds that was not advised to be installed because it had a bug. They wanted to do a proper fix. They've released a patch version since. So we're now at 1.9.2, and this one should be good to use. And we still also have a release from Streaming Fest for Go Ethereum for Polygon, now at 2.5.1, which seems to be a green release, some minor bug fixes and improvements. And I think this covers it for execution layer clients this week. So let me jump right to, there's also nothing going on consensus layer clients. So what we have, GraphStack, nothing. We have on Launchpad two chart releases, mDAL-v2 and Arbitrum Nitro. Those are the releases of this week. So Arbitrum Nitro is already 3.9.2 and mDAL-v2 should be 0.4. And this is that for releases this week. So I'm handing off to Juan for the protocol watch.
Thanks, Carlos. Okay, for Protocol Watch, we have quite a few things to cover. First of all, as always, we start with forum governance. We have the Arbitrum 1 upgrade for Graph Horizon, which requires some action from indexers. We are essentially beginning the preparation for the actual live upgrade. One of the main things that are needed to be done as of now is to start, if you can, start syncing the temporary graph network subgraph for Horizon. That essentially means that it's the same version that we are currently testing in testnet, but for Arbitrum 1, for the graph network subgraph, so that you have all of the data already available as soon as everything goes live, because it's unless there's something, some big issue on Arbitrum 1, that should be the version of the subgraph that's going to go live when the whole of the Horizon stack goes live. I think there's also some other preparations like the indexer agent and a few other off-chain components that you might need to be upgrading soon. But as you probably are aware, this is kind of like the upgrade window where Horizon is not going to be live yet, but you can start preparing your stack for when it goes live. I think the latest date that I'm aware of is December 9. So you have a few weeks to prepare everything. If you have any issues, as always, just let us know. We'll try to fix them as soon as possible. A lot of work ahead, but hopefully everything goes well. Then there's the Arbitration Council clarification on BOVA network EVO issue. The EVO issue has been solved, but essentially it was posting wrong data on the EVO for BOVA network, and that now has been fixed. I think there is a particular I don't exactly know because Thomas fixed it. I think there was an RPC issue on the EVO itself, but I don't want to give you the exact reason because I'm not entirely sure. That has been the most common failure on EVO side so far. So I would assume it's probably related to that. But it was fixed by Thomas during the weekend, so I'm not entirely sure what was the cause. It is fixed as far as I'm aware, and the change in the way that you should handle boba network allocations, I think it has been cleared as of epoch 1082, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that problem, again, I'm not entirely sure what was the problem of boba network, but it happened on a few weird networks. Like it hasn't happened in the most important networks, but it is something that could potentially happen. Like if the RPC is sending wrong data, that could happen in other networks. We actively monitor for that, but sometimes things slip through the cracks. So again, I don't have all of the details. I will try to ask Thomas and send some updates here on the next IOH episode. But yeah, so far I'm not entirely sure. The thread is in the agenda, and also Mickey just posted it in the chat. So yeah, I think it's using multiple RPCs, but technically it still can happen with multiple RPCs. Yeah, if you're interested in the discussion, the forum thread should be the source of truth for this discussion. So feel free to go over to the forums and ask away. I'll try to get some more details for next week. For forum research, we don't have any new updates since last IOH. For the contracts repository, there's quite a few PRs open for the rewards eligibility oracle, mainly the main PR as well as the issuance allocator, issuance related audit reports, etc., etc. I think Rem's probably gonna go over the changes or whatever's required for the latest updates. I mean, for the rewards eligibility oracle, but yeah, those are the PRs are linked in the agenda too. And for the network subgraph, as I mentioned previously, there's the newly released Horizon temporary subgraph for the upgrade window for indexers. And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna be handing over to Kate now.
Hi there. Thanks, Juan. A similar update as we previously have been sharing. Coming up next week, important to remember that indexing rewards for mode, boba, blast, and fuse will be deprecated as of November 25th. So you will need to close your allocations in the allotted period of November 5th to 28th to ensure that your previously earned rewards remained intact. And then you can immediately reopen the allocations to continue collecting query fees if you want to support those subgraphs. I will reshare my initial announcement again after this call in the Indexer announcements channel to make sure that everybody's aware of that, any upcoming action next week that they need to take. And that's it for now. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for your respective sections. So now I'm going to open up some space for Rem and Samuel. So as many of you know who were here last week, they came on to IOH to talk a bit about the rewards eligibility, the rewards eligibility oracle. As everyone knows, that is a mouthful. And this is part 2. So we want to create the space for that. So without further ado, Sam and Rem, feel free to take it away.
Okay, so I'll probably start. I'm just going to share my screen, and then hopefully someone can let me know if you can see that. Should be live now.
Just loading for me. Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay, great. I've also put a link to this webpage in the chat. So we looked at this last week. This was just an overview of the technical design for the rewards eligibility oracle. And I guess without recapping everything from the top again, I'll just say that I guess where we got to last week was we just ran through how the Oracle works in terms of how it lives inside a container and how it's scheduled. And we kind of finished on these points, how it will send a notification to us to Slack, depending on the state of its output, and it should also post on chain. So if anyone wants to kind of like take a further look in their own time in depth, then feel free to do that. And if there's any more questions, then obviously we're happy to assist and to answer there. But I guess kind of moving on from this technical overview, we come to the eligibility criteria. And I'll also put a link to this in the chat. So yeah, so we will be keeping track of the eligibility criteria over time as it updates and as it changes. And we will try to ensure that everyone in the community is aware of any changes before they go live. And one of the ways that we'll be doing that is by posting upcoming changes to the criteria exactly here at this webpage on GitHub. So this could be considered kind of like an announcement location, but also we'll try to reach out through other channels, because we acknowledge that not everyone is going to be looking at the GitHub page. So for example, in the Discord, and maybe on Twitter as well. So to start off with, the eligibility criteria that should be live at launch will be just the requirement to serve a single qualifying query for 5 days in a given 28-day period to be marked as eligible by the Oracle. And to define what a qualifying query is, I think we kind of covered this last week, but just maybe to recap. So it's written here that a qualifying query is one that simultaneously meets the following criteria. So the query has to have a HTTP response status of 200 OK. It needs to be from the point of view of the gateway, when the gateway sends the query to the indexer, and then the indexer responds and serves that query back to the gateway. The gateway must measure that the query response latency was served within 5,000 milliseconds. And it should also be served less than 50,000 blocks behind chainhead. And these criteria are kind of chosen as the intent is to be relatively easy for an indexer to meet. And so that this is quite relaxed, especially with the blocks behind chainhead, at least initially. So even for some of the faster networks like Arbitrum, this should be quite achievable. So you can kind of see we're also keeping track of this in a changelog style report. So just down here at the bottom, we have a table, and we can see that those live criteria, and then as new criteria comes in, we will just append from probably the top down rather than the bottom up into this table any new criteria and the effective date that the criteria changed. So indexers will be able to check to make sure that they're still meeting this criteria. And then just at the top here, we'll also be putting that into this table of any upcoming criteria. So I think that covers that. Now, the Graph Foundation has been really fantastic. They've actually created an eligibility dashboard for everyone. So I'll also post a link to that in the chat. And so this dashboard kind of gives you a visual overview of which indexes are currently eligible, the indexes that are ineligible, and those that are in a grace period. So the grace period indexes, to start with them first, those are indexes that were previously marked as eligible, but have not been refreshed recently. So they would have met the eligibility criteria at some point in the past, but no longer continue to meet it. So that's kind of this 14-day grace period as it currently stands, where they will continue to be marked by the Oracle as their eligibility on chain will continue to be eligible, but at some point in the future, then that will expire. So it's quite nice here on this dashboard. You can sort, and you can also see the date of the last renewal. So, for example, for block team.eth was last renewed today, and then just clicking on that link, we can actually see the transaction on chain that shows that renewal. So you can click at the bottom, click to see more, and then decode input data, and then so this indexer address, we could just do a search for that, and then there's your proof that that indexer is indeed eligible. So that's pretty cool. You can also see that from the contract itself as well. So if you go to contracts and then read its proxy, you could essentially just post that indexer address into there. So okay, so that would give you the last eligibility renewal time, and then there should also be a function is eligible. Yeah, so you can just see that that indexer address is eligible based on the contract. So yeah, I think that's just kind of what I wanted to share there with regards to how that works. And then I think these other tabs are just kind of more of the same, but you can also see that in the logs for the transaction. So again, if I just search for that indexer address, then you can kind of see that the eligibility was renewed. So yeah, yeah, I think that's it for me for now. But if anyone has any questions, then I'm happy to answer. So I
There's a
see a
question
question
from
from
Matthew. Yeah.
yeah. So he asks, when is it going live, and when do we start kicking out indexes that are not serving queries? So I think with regards to when it goes live, it will likely be after the transition period for the Graph Horizon upgrade. So yeah, I think that's kind of one of the dependencies there that we're kind of waiting for first to go smoothly, and then what's eligibility Oracle would follow soon after that. So yeah, it would probably be in January.
Matthew, are you trying to speak there? I see that your avatar is lighting up, but I can't hear any voice. Okay, you muted yourself. Okay, cool. All right.
Okay, so in that case, maybe I would just hand back, or if Rem had anything that he wanted to sort of input, then feel free.
Basically, I'd gone through the material. I had planned last time we were just finishing off. So it's just questions really.
Alrighty, well, let's go for questions. For some reason, when I joined, my microphone is muted. Sometimes, okay. No worries, no worries. LFG, yeah, let's go for questions. Anyone have any questions? See if one is typing.
Yes. I'll just say yes. We're all keen to get it out as soon as practical. I'm hoping that is January.
Thanks, Juan, for adding the context. Not a question yet. You're adding just context for Matthew there, and as Rem said, ideally the sooner the better. But yeah, Jan is likely when it will be released. That would be funny
Yeah,
if
can't
that was.
wait to get this
sorry.
deployed. It's currently $400,000 worth of GRT going to these indexes per month, and can't wait to have the protocol reclaim that and distribute it to other indexes. Well, that's not exactly how it works, but they will no longer be able to claim the 400,000. So either they need to step up their game or migrate off of the protocol. So it's a massive wasted amount of resources we have in the Graph network.
Looks like Matthew wants that 400K. All right, you're on Christmas duty, Matthew. So that means the entire Christmas holiday you have to be on support duties if you want to get that 400K. Exactly. That's your entire retirement if it's a 401K. Okay, looks like Vince has one-upped you there. He said he's willing to work the next 10 Christmases for this 400K. So you're in this competition for this 400K, Matthew.
Yeah, if only we got to keep the 400K. We don't.
Exactly. Oh, okay. Seems like Matthew's on his philanthropic arc and has decided to give up the 400K to others who are more in need. Okay, all right. Let's lock in and move on to the next topic. I appreciate you all for chiming in there, and appreciate Samuel and Rem for coming on today and just wrapping up from last week's topic. Okay, fantastic. Well, now we have the good fortune of having Slim with us. And as we've been doing throughout these previous IOHs, we'll be discussing all of the research that he's put together via the indexer survey and some of the actions that are being taken as a result of the survey that was done. So Slim, if you're ready, feel free to share your screen and we can get right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was also going to share an update about Horizon, but I think Juan all got it covered. But if there's any questions about the Horizon upgrade process and what indexes need to do and the timeline, we can probably take just a minute to see if there's any questions about it.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Indexes can already make the changes needed to be ready for Horizon. And I also recommend, once we are closing in on December, early December, end of November, I also recommend reading what's called the prep work for phase 4, as you may want to have some allocation available when we do the phase 4 upgrade, which is when we enable Horizon. So and yeah, all good, Juan. All good, Juan. It was mostly just making sure that indexes have eyes on and start getting ready. We are monitoring how many of the endpoints are ready for Horizon, and it will also allow us to migrate with more confidence when we see that indexes are already ready and they're not waiting until the last day. So it would be great to have indexes get ready and upgrade their stacks. So, but yeah, that's we can move on to the indexer feedback report as well. Do you remember where we left off, Abel? I kind of forgot. How far?
Yes, if you pull it up, I have a visual cue where we dropped off. Also, we've got a question here from Vince, but I guess it's like more directed to the GraphUp guys. Launchpad charts being ready for Horizon. Carlos, do you have any space to chime in on that? Or maybe Juan. I know Carlos is mainly working on this infrastructure stuff, but if he can't hear us, then Juan, do you have anything to chime in on that? Do you have any visibility? Yeah. Okay, Carlos might be no worries, no worries. I think he just might be away from keyboard, but he's the most clued in. So I'm just gonna tag him so that he can respond when he is able to see it. CC Carlos. Okay, cool. Scroll up, Slim.
Yeah. So I believe we started with the indexer feedback proper on the
Yes,
different
that's
categories.
right.
And did we get through the foundation category, or were we?
No,
I wonder if we.
so I don't think we did. I remember. So if you scroll up,
Yeah.
I remember the chart. Yeah, you were showing this, and then we were moving on to the next segment, and we didn't get there. So I think this is kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I think we discussed the strategic direction and roadmap,
Okay.
and some started on the past foundation decisions. I think we
Okay.
can probably dive into the last two there, specifically something that have been. We've also heard very recently about AMP with the uncertainty around the indexer role, and I think I started to say that last time as well, that the indexer role will continue to be central to the graph network, also with all new data services that we are bringing to the graph. And there's extensive work already on the components that will be needed to run this and other data services on the graph. Not sure how much in detail we can go already, but there's actual implementation work that we are looking at different ways to bring both substreams and AMP to the network. So it's not something that indexers should ever need to worry about, that they will be obsolete or that we will be transitioning to a SaaS type of service. But so that's also something that we need to be clear in our communication. And as Matthew points out in the chat, it's a very good first step to have Horizon. With that, we can much more easily implement new data services.
Just a quick one, Slim. Anything stopping us from going into detail on this topic?
More that it's something that we haven't like fully defined yet, and I'm not sure if it's something that
Gotcha.
we have much that we can share. We're still looking at different options and different components. I think also that I would want a more like a deep dive on the individual decisions that we are looking at, and I wouldn't do it justice alone, and I'd like to maybe have more of a dedicated session on it when it becomes relevant, also so that indexes can come with input on it. But right now, it might be something that
It
we
makes
want
sense.
to do a little bit of a blast around so that we can get input as well from more indexes on this.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
But yeah, feel free to unmute your mics, by the way, everybody that's here, if you want to join in. I do prefer when it's a conversation. I do prefer when it's pushback and we get some we get challenged a little bit, and it's not just me having a monologue. I know that this is pain points from indexes, and that the foundation haven't done a good job in the past, and we're trying to change that. And the best way there is to get some hard truths in the chat and on a conversation, so that we can work on improving the situation. And the last part here is actually leadership and accountability. I see Mickey already put as well. I think that goes for both of these, is having more people from leadership be visible in the forum and in Discord and other places. Anyone that wants to be to double down on this, and if you participated in the survey and you wrote that you wanted more of the leadership to be visible, is that specifically addressing the indexer community, more community talks? Is it more being more visible on the forums, being more we can definitely get Nick to join as a foundation lead. We can get, well, as Mickey says, the CEO of 𝗨𝗀𝗄𝗧 will be coming to IOH to talk about AMP, and we can definitely get more of the leadership in as well to talk more like long term of the graph. Is that? I thought, yeah. No, anyone? Have any take on it?
I can get Nick to come on, as you were saying. But I'd love to know what people want to hear specifically from someone like Nick. And just for reference, to follow up on what Mickey was saying, we're looking at the 2nd of December for Rodrigo to come and talk about AMP. And so, yeah, we can get these people, and we want to make sure that they answer your questions. So if there's anything specific that you guys want to hear, we want to hear from you guys what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And Nick had mentioned as well, he's open to join and talk about the future of the graph and where we are heading. I think it would be a great session, especially once we are focusing on nailing down some of the things on the roadmap side, and which we talked about the other side earlier here as well on the last session. I'm looking into having a either we will share a roadmap soon, or we will have a indexer-specific roadmap that maybe easier to get off the ground and just share with the community. Yeah, we can jump to the next one. On the core dev engagement, that is also one of the sides that we've gotten a lot of critique on. I know people here in chat is very active, like Mickey, Matthew. Like you guys are killing it. So that this is not personal. It's more so that it's a community. Well, have voiced their opinion that they want core devs to be more active, and there's some positive feedback as well on the occasional direct support, and the support tags was highlighted as a good thing. But on the negative side, is that they feel that there's little communication when things are breaking or things are changing, and there's no communication ahead of time. That's something that we may try to improve and have a better process for.
There's a good question here from Matthew saying, any hints on where exactly people could be more active? Maybe there's some granularity there in the feedback, and maybe that could guide the actions taken to improve.
Well, the one that this is, I think, one of the communication responsiveness and communication issues is the one that got the most negative feedback in the survey, and it's specifically around like version upgrades and about things breaking, and for example IPFS issues, updates to the versions that have made it so indexers are unable to close allocations and so on. And I think maybe we could have a maybe there could be some sort of like maybe we could have it more direct feedback there, or a more direct like channel that we can post in when upgrades are happening, so that at least there's some visibility into it. Mickey, do you have any good ideas there?
So I'll unmute. I like, Matthew's suggestion is good. And maybe you want to touch on kind of the journey over the last 3 years of getting devoted indexer support, Orion. And then I personally don't think the channel is the problem. I think it's a combination of factors. One being that now you guys know we've been working very hard on AMP over the last year. And that's been, a huge amount of development work. Therefore, our team has been spread, frankly, very thin. And yeah, it's just been a period of about a year where we've been spread quite thin and not been able to provide the level of hands-on support we would have, been able to in an ideal world. Provide that to indexers. I do think that, we're over kind of this huge hump now. AMP is public. We're super excited to involve indexers in that. Again, more to come on that shortly. But again, I don't think it's the channel that's the issue. I think it's a lack of resources, which now is partially solved by the indexer support folks, which I'll defer to you to talk about that, Orion. And then secondarily, I do think that IPFS has been historically over the last several years probably our #1 pain point. In my opinion, that's probably affected indexers. And that has also been sort of addressed over the last 6 months or so. We've migrated to Pinata as a pinning provider. And then the recent AWS outage did affect them, but I spoke with their CTO, and he assured me they've implemented some fallback system internally to prevent that from going down again. So I think we're seeing more stability there as well.
Yep. Indexes on this call, like, how do you feel there, like with stability? Is it something that we are seeing? As Matthew says, like this is something that this is a survey that I sent around March, April, May, I believe. So it is a little bit of a like an outdated view of what the indexing community was experiencing at that point. So but the indexes here are like there's some indexes here that have participated in the survey. So maybe if you want to mention anything, or send me a message after as well if there's anything that you don't want to talk about publicly on the call. But curious to hear if you have any ideas of how we can improve, especially since this was the major pain point. If we have improved already, then that's good. We have one contributor now via InfraDAO is via InfraDAO and Data Nexus. Vincent is providing some indexing support. He has the fancy golden name, and Vince will back him up when needed, but it will mostly be Vincent that is doing the indexer support on behalf of InfraDAO and Data Nexus. So well, I don't think I need to reintroduce Vincent. Everybody knows them, and yeah. So we have a tag now at indexer support that you can use, and we are committed to at least being acknowledging all of everyone that is tagging that tag, and he will also be visiting the channels from time to time as well and looking at issues. So but when it comes to versions and everything, do let us know. Do let me know, or Mickey. I know she's as committed as well to improving this, like improving if there's any feedback there. So, and Matthew, of course, as well, but he might not be as directly involved with like the graph node versioning and all of that. But I know Matthew always helps. So. But yeah, that's at least where we are trying to make an initiative there with the indexer support and also the index experience working group, trying to have a venue for you to just talk directly with developers on pain points, so you can help surface like what are the features and bugs that you need to get fixed. I love this, Mickey.
We also have Max now too. I think that's worth mentioning. So since we've been so strapped on resources internally at EdgeNode, through Pedro and Orion, we were able to get Max from InfraDAO on contract to support graph node development, specifically around indexer pain points. So I do just want to call that out. You do now have a devoted graph node engineer who's super interested in hearing your feedback, understanding your pain points. And we frankly didn't have that until like a month-ish ago. So kind of a fairly recent thing. And I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. I was thinking it as well, but I've been mentioning Max a couple of times now already on IOH, probably like 3-4 times. So like maybe I should yeah. I'll just leave that for the group to connect 2 and 2, but yeah, it's 100%, Mickey, 100%. So I'm glad you brought it up. So feel free to reach out directly to Max as well if there's anything, because he is not an indexer himself, but he will be attending the index experience working group calls, and he is active in Discord and would more than happily get input from indexers. And yeah, on the next part, like I think this is also a pain point, is the firehose and substreams. This is something that with bringing this to the network, we need to improve, I believe, the firehose and substream documentation the Matthew have been called out directly for being the only one that is actually like he is Firehose and Substream documentation, and I know we do have some good documentation here and there, but I think it's been hard for independent indexes to get started with substreams. So this is the feedback we are getting here, and yeah, there was someone assigned to improving docs, Matthew says, but I think they didn't improve it much before they quit. Yeah, it's something that we probably need to revisit, the documentation on Firehose and substreams when we bring it to the network. Is there any other documentation? I know that there was a time when documentation was found very spread. Are any of the current indexes using the documentation actively, or is it mostly like just release notes and learning the new features from there and moving on? I think we are at a point in the network where we are more reducing the number of indexes, and we are like trying to get a lot of new indexes. So that might also be a reason why, yeah, it's not been prioritized. We would rather kick out the ineligible indexes or have them improve their service than necessarily needing a lot more indexes. So. And the same here with the indexes on support from community members, Spain, Jim, and Marc-André are all pointed out as well.
So I'm surprised that's a negative. So from the core dev side, or at least EdgeNode side,
yeah.
That's our preference. We prefer to be a last resort. We do not want every single index or issue to come to EdgeNode because that creates a massive bottleneck for you. So we are glad to see indexers supporting each other, but maybe that's not clear and it's perceived as a negative thing. Yeah, it's kind of surprising to see.
Yeah.
Is it a negative? I guess I'm curious to hear why it's perceived as a negative. Does it give you the impression that core devs don't care, or is the quality of help you're getting from each other not great? I mean, I would love to unpack that more and understand it.
Yeah, I would love to hear that as well, and how we can, yeah, if not change how we operate, maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. Luna Nova here is that if you feel that you're doing it on goodwill. So just trying to think of ways. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying there's some stuff in here from Gemma in the chat. Maybe that's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Luna Nova, that's a good point. And as I said, there's we may look into like how we can improve that. Like it could be, for example, well, one of the initiatives we are looking at will be how we can help indexes that are providing value to the graph, both like on and off chain value to the graph. And that could be something that we make sure to keep in mind when we evaluate the value that the indexes are bringing, because that would be something that is still optional for indexes to provide support, but we can use it in a way to you would have a more like you would know that they would get a benefit from it. Another thing, yeah, exactly, Vince. And then the other thing I'm thinking is that we could also open for smaller bounties via InfraDAO to make sure that people that are actively replying do get some bounty, but it may not need to be like a monthly role, because I know that a lot of community members don't want a monthly role, but we could do like a smaller grant based on who we see are active in Discord and helping other indexes. And so that is something that we can look into in InfraDAO, is just keeping track of who is providing support. And we can also, as I said, on the foundation initiative that I'm working on, keeping track who is also like helpful in Discord. And that could be part of the next round of feedback as well, of indexer feedback, is we can make sure to track that. So
just a quick question. How would we think about capturing this information and then rewarding it? Because I mean, the easy answer is just like put some financial incentive there, but then I feel like that would ruin the dynamic, because a lot of people just help kind of altruistically, right? They just want to help other people,
yeah,
I would imagine. And you don't want to take away from that. But at the same time, you want to kind of reward people. So like maybe what's like a non-financial incentive or reward you can give these people to kind of encourage them to continue to do what they're doing, and maybe encourage more people to do it.
a POAP. we could look into like how that can, yeah. That's it's really a difficult question, because we don't, as you say, like we don't want it to feel like anyone is trying to just do it to like farm points at the ecosystem and reply in like low quality, or like try to yeah, to game it. But at the same time, it would be great to have some way of rewarding them. So we could look into, like as I said, like the initiative that I'm working on, it does have a financial component, percent, but it could also give a little bit of a like ecosystem reputation. So maybe we could have that reputation being public somewhere, that hey, you have been actively doing support, or you've been actively doing this. And we could try to keep especially this kind of like help, we may want to keep the financial bit on the low end, but still keep track of it in a like a reputation way. MVI each week, yeah.
Yeah. I think like a lot of people are converging on this topic of just like giving some sort of recognition. Like you were mentioning it there, Gemma mentioned it, Matthew's mentioned it. Yeah, basically just like making people feel like their work is being seen and recognized. Maybe like an additional kind of like thing you could add is like, if there's any like secret alpha for like new events, they get like I don't know, like a pre pre-notice or whatever, like
Yeah,
for tickets or whatever, like swag. I don't know, whatever, like um,
I
yeah.
can say that those that contributed to this index report, they are getting a little bit getting a little like birthday surprise for the Graph's upcoming 5th birthday. So they're getting a little something that is not financial, but just yeah, and it is a sign of appreciation for the work they put into this report. So providing the feedback that formed this report, I guess. So that's 100% something we can continue to do as well, like having some non-financial way, but we can also look into more reputation and yeah. Speaking of, we are already at time, but I do want to recognize there was somebody in chat as well that say they are new to subgraphs, and I think they are getting some help in chat, but if not, then I do. Let me see here. So, Kushal, like the first thing I would do when I first started indexing, building subgraphs, was to just use a contract that you're already familiar with, and the CLI do allow you to automatically create like a scaffold subgraph that will be... Sorry, what did you say?
I just gave him presenter rights so you can unmute. But I think he was like just on text this on push to talk, so it just automatically unmuted him. Sorry about that. I was just suggesting for him to come off mute just in case he wants to share some thoughts. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, so I mentioned like the way that I got started was to use a smart contract that you are somewhat familiar with, and use the Graph CLI to create a subgraph for it, and it will automatically populate it with indexing all of the events that are being emitted by that contract, including the schema and the manifest and the mapping code. And you should be able to deploy that directly, and it would already index all events, and you will be able to query it. And from there, you can try to like do a little bit more of like advanced subgraph features if you want to, for example, link different entities, and or you want to do eat calls, so you want to do other work inside the subgraph mapping. But it's very, very helpful to have a working starting point. Juan is also an excellent subgraph developer. He's on the call. He can probably also give you some tips. But yeah, I would start with something that you're already somewhat familiar with.
𝗨𝗀𝗲𝗂𝗪, you want to come off mute and just speak to what Slim just said there, or maybe if you have any follow-ups? You should be able to speak. I did give you permission.
Yeah, when I first joined the Graph 5 years ago, that's one of the first things I did in the Graph ecosystem, is that I did a learning series where I invited expert developers, subgraph developers, from all corners of Web3, and one of them was Juan. Another one was Sebastian, who used to work on Enzyme. He's now the CTO at Edgenode. I had an interview with him. Went 4 hours with like hot subgraph tips. but yeah, that's secretly, that's how I learned graph development as well. I would just pick up the best tips and tricks from everyone else in the ecosystem, and suddenly I became quite familiar with subgraph development myself, because I picked up everything else that others had worked on. So.
That's actually pretty clever. I think that's a really smart way to go about things. And it's great that people, gave their time to you. And yeah, I guess it was also like beneficial for them as well. Like case in point, Juan, getting his first interview, but also being able to share his wisdom and knowledge when it comes to subgraph development. So yeah, that's pretty clever. I think it's a really good way to like crack into an industry, interview the best and just share that and kind of like learn in public. Did you publish those interviews and stuff? Oh, you did on the YouTube channel. Nice. Oh shit. Okay, we're going back into the archives. We're gonna see young Juan. There's young Juan 4 years ago. There he is when he was just 20 years old, young boy coming up. Juanito. Oh, this is hilarious. Oh man, we're catching Juan when he was back in the day, old hairstyle and everything. Oh snap! This is Slim had a huge beard. This is Slim with a small beard. Damn, this is crazy. Wow, that's awesome. It's good that you made them public as well, so um, like people can see it and stuff, and yeah, you learned a lot. That's awesome. Well, there you go. That's alpha there, 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗀. So if you wanna get involved, go ahead.
I'm not a good interviewer. I know it. Others know it. But I was the one that we had back then, before Marcus, before Kevin, and other DevRels. And it really, we got a lot of good feedback on the videos. It captured a lot of like more advanced features that we didn't have in the docs at the time. So it was really useful. But now we have way better information in our docs, and Marcus and Kevin, the developers that is doing a great job with showing that in videos and in written docs as well. So I would recommend that over watching our videos. But
Yeah, I feel like sometimes. Oops.
I just said that one was excellent.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like sometimes just being first, you don't necessarily have to be the best, but being the first is actually an advantage in itself. Because if your content is the only content out there, for that given topic, then no matter how you think, and also I feel like we're always our harshest critic. I'm sure the interviews are great, but we're all our own harshest critic. But yeah, even just being the first out there, on an advanced topic is like good enough to be useful and helpful. So yeah, that's awesome. He says he's a bit nervous today. We'll start tomorrow. Yeah, no worries. There's no need to jump on the mic. It's great to see you here, and we do these every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. UTC. So feel free to join, and yeah, you'll learn as you go, and hopefully you'll be doing interview series like Oriana as well. That would be pretty cool. I'd love to see that. That'd be really, really cool to see. Kind of a full circle moment. Okay, we're slightly over, so I'm gonna wrap it for now. I see Matthew's also said bye. Special shout out to Slim, Samuel, Rem, and each and every one of you for joining in today. This has been amazing. We, went super deep and managed to answer questions, and yeah, it was great to have a conversation. So again, we'll be back same time next week. Hope you guys all have a fantastic week, and we'll see you. Next week, 𝗨𝗀, is next week at 5 p.m. UTC in this exact same place every single Tuesday. So we'll see you next week. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.